Hello, YouTubers. I'm gonna be glad when this election's over with, so we can stop having to deal with everything that's going on between these two. Holy smoke. I have got another stack piled up here of news articles. And I thought I'd just go ahead and bring this on out to you. Let's just, lay it out there, get it over with. Air the dirty laundry, as they say. First article that I have for you is off of westernjournalism.com. For the little hamster to catch up to me here and get the article up on the screen. He's running a little slow. He's a little tired of this election thing too, I think. This one says, Trump's national political director steps down, cites personal reasons. Weeks until the presidential election, Donald Trump's national political director has decided to leave the campaign. But for personal reasons, I've had to take a step back from the campaign, Jim Murphy told Politico. Murphy began working for Trump's campaign in June after Trump dismissed then advisor Rick Wiley after less than 2 months. Murphy played a key role in setting up field program dates. He had also been a supporter of Trump's unconventional campaign style. Before hiring Murphy, Trump had scoffed at more traditional campaign efforts, seeing them as a waste of money. There is an ability for us to move nimbly. The campaign has been lean and mean. In that culture, Murphy said in July. Murphy's arrival was intended to be a boon for Trump's ground game, which had been much maligned prior to his arrival. The campaign also hoped Murphy would help stabilize some hiccups Trump campaign had suffered over the summer. It was Murphy who announced that the Trump campaign would target 17 states in the general election. He said Trump would focus on Arizona, Colorado, Florida, Georgia, Indiana, Iowa, Maine, Michigan, Minnesota, Missouri, Nevada, New Hampshire, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Virginia, and Wisconsin. Murphy's decision to step down is not the first major shakeup within the Trump's campaign. Paul Manafort, Trump's former campaign chairman and close ally of Murphy's, resigned in August. In June, Trump fired his campaign manager, Corey Lednowski, after months of concerns regarding Lednowski's control of the campaign. The loss of Manafort and the dismissal of Lewandowski came at a point where Trump's campaign had time to adjust. With just over 2 weeks remaining until the election, the loss of Murphy is less than the Republican nominee. Murphy is an experienced GOP advisor, having served as senior advisor to Bob Dole in 1988 and 1996 presidential campaigns. The Harvard graduate also ran the Republican National Committee's independent expenditure campaign for the 2012 presidential cycle. Murphy started his career in politics working for Senator Gordon J. Humphrey, Republican of New Hampshire. He also spent time as political director at the National Republican Senatorial Committee in the mid-1980s. The next article that I have for you is off of the allnewspipeline.com. Hampshire's running as fast as he can go. Let's see here. It says the mother of all bombshells is about to drop right on Hillary Clinton's head. We're talking about GOP nominee Donald Trump's Gettysburg Address speech and his unveiling of his first 100 days agenda, calling it a contract with America. What hasn't been heavily reported by the mainstream media is that Trump also spoke of the newly released Project Veritas undercover videos where DNC and Clinton campaign operatives admitted to organizing violent riots at Trump rallies, bragging how they shut down his Chicago rally and stating that they mentally ill people to do stuff at the Trump events. And you can click on a link that'll take you to that video if you'd like to see that, if you haven't seen it already. All these URLs that I tell you about are in the description of my video, so you're welcome to pull them up and do your own research on them. The 10-minute and 25-second mark in the video of Trump's Gettysburg speech. At the end of his article, he states, "It has just been learned on video that the violent protest at some of my rallies, like Chicago, where police and others were seriously hurt, you saw that blood pouring down their face was caused and paid DNC and Clinton campaign operatives." Trump continued on to say, "We didn't know this. It just came out 2 days ago. We didn't know this. We were amazed at the level of violence." He then said that it is a criminal act and that those responsible should be prosecuted, assuring the audience that more information would come out during litigation. In response to Trump's assertion that he will be taking legal action, Project Veritas founder and president James O'Keefe sent 2 messages via social media to Donald Trump. The first said, "Don't file that lawsuit quite yet. More video coming that HRC was personally involved in directing what happens at the rallies." The second message provided a short clip of Trump's related remarks from his Gettysburg speech and then said, "More HRC evidence coming soon, drip, drip, drip." Part 3 of a series of hidden camera releases taken during a year-long undercover investigation into the election rigging is due to be released on Monday, October the 24th. Tomorrow, and is believed by O'Keefe to be so explosive and literally game-changing that he has set up a dead man switch by handing the information over to Joe Biggs and Alex Jones of InfoWars to be released in the event that anything happens to him. And there are some tweets regarding that here. And then it says, for anyone thinking it is an exaggeration or hype about how damaging these hidden camera releases can be, one only has to look at how the first release has already caused 2 Democratic career operatives, Scott Fogel and Robert Creamer, who was a regular visitor to the White House since 2009, to become unemployed, one stepping down and one fired. Bottom line, the write-up and videos for the first 2 releases can be found at Project Veritas website. What they have exposed is election rigging and massive fraud on the part of the DNC and organizations working in conjunction with both the DNC and the Clinton campaign, as well as behind-the-scenes collusion in order to create violent riots and protests at Trump events. The corruption within the DNC has been known for years, but O'Keefe has now managed to rip the roof off hell and showed the world the evil that lies inside. In the next release, the mother of all bombshells is about to be dropped right on Hillary Clinton's head. And there's a bunch of videos here that you can take a look at in this article. The next article that I have for you is off of naturalnews.com. And it says, Donald Trump lays out historic plans for first 100 days in office. End corruption, stop crooks in Washington, and unleash economic abundance for America. J. Trump just delivered an historic speech that lays out his plan for the first 100 days in office. Highlights are listed here. Actual quotes from Donald Trump are shown in italics. The system is totally rigged and broken. The dishonest mainstream media is a major part of this corruption. They lie and fabricate stories to make a candidate that is not their preferred choice look as bad and as dangerous as possible. They're trying desperately to suppress my vote and voice of the American people. They're trying to poison the minds of the American voter. If they can fight somebody like me who has unlimited resources, just imagine what they can do to you. The rigging of the system is designed for one reason: to keep the corrupt establishment and special interests in power at your expense. We will never solve our problems by relying on the same politicians who create these problems in the first place. Hillary Clinton is running against all the American people. This 100-day plan is a contract between Donald J. Trump and the American voter to bring honestly accountability change to Washington, D.C. We will drain the swamp in Washington, D.C. and replace it with the new government of, by, and for the people. This is my pledge to you. If we follow these steps, we will once more have government of, by, and for the people. We will make America great again. That was his speech. Okay, now it says here, 6 groundbreaking political reforms that will end corruption in Washington, D.C. A constitutional amendment to impose term limits on the members of Congress, a hiring freeze on all federal employees, exempting military, public safety, and public health, a requirement that for every new federal regulation, 2 existing regulations must be eliminated. Regulations are killing our country and our jobs. 5-year ban on White House and congressional officials becoming lobbyists after they leave government service. A lifetime ban on White House officials lobbying on behalf of foreign government. A complete ban on foreign lobbyists raising money for American elections. And then it has 7 actions to protect American workers. Totally renegotiate NAFTA, one of the first deals out, or I should say one of the first deals our country has ever made. Number 2 is announce the withdrawal from TPP, potential disaster for our country. Number 3, direct Secretary of the Treasury to label China a currency manipulator. What they have done to us by playing with currency is very sad. I blame our politicians for letting this take place. Number 4, direct the Secretary of Commerce to identify all foreign trading abuses that unfairly impact American workers and to use every tool under American law to end those abuses. Number 5, lift restrictions on production of $50 trillion worth of job-producing American energy reserves, including shale oil, natural gas, and clean coal, and we will put our miners back to work. Number 6, lift Obama-Clinton roadblocks that allow this vital energy infrastructure projects to go forward. We're going to allow the Keystone Pipeline to move forward. Number 7, we'll cancel billions in payments to UN climate change programs and use the money to fix Americans' water and environmental infrastructure. Number 5, actions to restore security, 5 actions to restore security and constitutional rule of law in America. Number 1, cancel every unconstitutional executive order and action issued by Obama. Number 2, begin the process of selecting and replacement for Justice Scalia. Number 3, cancel all federal funding for sanctuary cities. Number 4, remove 2 million criminal illegal immigrants from the country and cancel visas to foreign countries that won't take them back. Number 5, suspend immigration from terror-prone regions where vetting cannot safely occur. Substantial tax policy changes that will create jobs, simplify tax forms, and reduce taxes on the middle class by up to 35%. Number 1, reduce taxes for the middle class. The largest tax reductions are for the middle class. They have been forgotten. Middle class families with 2 children will get a 35% tax cut. Number 2, the number of tax brackets will be reduced from 7 to 3. Tax forms will be greatly simplified. Number 3, business rate will be lowered from 35% to 15%, and trillions of dollars in corporate money overseas will be brought back at a 10% rate. This will allow businesses to invest in American operations that will create millions of new jobs. Number 4, end the Offshoring Act. Establish tariffs to discourage companies from laying off their workers and relocating to foreign countries. Side comment. We're going to work on fixing the VA hospital problem. We have illegal immigrants that are treated far better than our veterans. Donald Trump's proposed action or acts for serious reform. Number 1, Infrastructure Reinvestment Act would restore investment in our domestic infrastructure, bridges, roads, and water systems. Number 2, School Choice and Education Opportunity Act will give parents the right to send their child to schools of their choice. We're going to end Common Core and bring education supervision to local communities. Our current system is not working. We will expand vocational and technical education and make 2- and 4-year colleges more affordable. Number 3, repeal and replace Obamacare Act. Fully repeal Obamacare and replace it with health savings accounts. The ability to purchase health insurance across state lines to create competition and let states manage Medicaid funds. Reforms will include cutting the red tape at the FDA. We want to speed the approval of life-saving medications. Number 4, Affordable Child Care and Elder Care Act would allow caregivers to deduct care costs from their taxes, create tax-free dependent care savings accounts. Number 5, End Illegal Immigration Act, fully fund the construction of a wall on our southern border with the understanding that the country of Mexico will be reimbursing the United States for the full cost. Establishes 2 to 4 year mandatory prison sentences for those illegally re-entering the United States if they have multiple prior deportations or felony convictions. Number 6, Restoring Community Safety Act creates a task force on violent crime, increases funding for programs to train and assist local police, put violent offenders behind bars or out of our country. Number 7, Restoring National Security Act rebuilds our military by eliminating the defense sequester and expanding military investment. Peace through strength. We need a strong military. It also provides our veterans with the ability to receive public VA treatment or visit a private doctor of their choice. Additional comment, we are going to protect our vital infrastructure from cyber attack. Number 8, Clean Up Corruption at Washington Act, enact new ethics reforms to reduce corrupting influence of special interests and donors. So there's that article. The next one we have here is off BizPac Review. And it says, Donald Trump, I would never approve AT&T Time Warner merger. Deals like this destroy democracy. Donald Trump seemed to summon the ghost of trustbuster Teddy Roosevelt Saturday when he announced that he would have never approved the proposed AT&T Time Warner merger. Presidential nominee, who has often commented on media attempt to control the outcome of election, referred to the consolidation of two media giants as a few holding too great a concentration of power. The power structure I am fighting, AT&T is buying Time Warner and thus CNN, a deal we will not approve in my administration because it's too much concentration of power in the hands of too few, Trump said during his contract for the American voter policy speech in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Trump's comments anticipated the Wall Street Journal's report several hours later that two companies had come to an agreement for AT&T to purchase Time Warner. The Hill reported the deal would likely have to be approved by a constellation of federal agencies, including the Department of Justice and the Federal Communications Commission. Though the company would own both content produced by companies like CNN and HBO and the means through which it is distributed. The company's current offerings range from wireless service to broadband internet to video products through DirecTV. Besides the Spanish-American War charges up Cuba's San Juan Hill, Republican President Theodore Roosevelt is perhaps best known as a trust buster, breaking up monopolies such as Standard Oil into smaller companies. The comparison wasn't lost on social media, and there's a tweet from Kip RN says Trump channeled his inner Teddy Roosevelt, the trust buster. This is why establishment GOP is afraid of him. He can't be controlled. And there's some more tweets there if you want to read those. The article says Trump took another media merger to task at Saturday's address. Additionally, Comcast's purchase of NBC concentrates far too much power in one massive entity that is trying to tell the voters what to think and what to do. Deals like this destroy democracy. We have is off of AmericanOnlineTimes.com. Trump is right. Muslim refugees, and now the page is skipping around. Okay. Trump is right. Muslim refugees arrested for, try it again. Maybe it'll hold still this time. Okay. Trump is right. Muslim refugees arrested in U.S. for deadly plan. And this is Article from today. This is a brand new one. Breaking news. Federal authorities just arrested 2 of Obama's Muslim refugees on terror-related charges Thursday. The arrests have happened in Sacramento, California, and Houston, Texas. They have many similarities. Both were born in Iraq and were living as refugees in America, according to the Justice Department. Both lied in their immigration process about their ties to terrorist organizations, including the Islamic State, ISIS, which is to be expected considering how little paperwork exists on the refugees. Omar Faraq Saeed al-Hardan, age 24 of Houston, is charged with attempting to provide material support to ISIS. Oz Muhammad Yunus al-Jayab, age 23 of Sacramento, is charged with making a false statement involving international terrorism. It was not immediately clear whether Hardan or Jayab had retained legal representation. They are both scheduled to appear in court on Friday. The 2 cases come as some Americans worry that terrorists could enter the United States posing as refugees from war-torn nations. That concern was amplified after the Paris terror attacks in November. ISIS claimed responsibility for those coordinated attacks on concert halls, bars, and restaurants, and sports stadiums that killed 130 people. Conservative leaders who have been speaking out against refugee programs sounded the alarms and noted these arrests just saved countless lives. Texas Governor Greg Abbott said in a statement obtained by Breitbart, Texas, "This is precisely why I called for a halt to refugees entering the U.S. from countries substantially controlled by terrorists. I once again urge the president to halt the resettlement of these refugees in the United States until there is an effective vetting process that will ensure refugees do not compromise the safety of Americans and Texans," the governor added. Likewise, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick expressed the same concern that state officials have previously voiced with regard to vetting of refugees from the Middle East. Patrick said in a statement, "Based on the facts as we know them, today's action may have prevented a catastrophic terror-related event in the making that saved countless lives. This is exactly what we have repeatedly told Obama administration could happen and why we do not want refugees coming to Texas," Patrick added. "There are serious questions about who these people really are, as evidenced by these events. This should be a reminder that Obama thinks it can stop terrorist refugees by simply asking them if they're involved in terrorism. That's crazy. America needs a real leader in the White House who will not stand for the importation of potential terrorist threats." That's what Donald Trump has been warning us about all along. The next article I have is off of redstatewatcher.com. Well, well, look what we just learned about Trump's latest fake accuser. New reports of Donald Trump's latest sexual assault accuser have exposed her as writer for the anti-Trump Huffington Post. Well, I think I was right the first time. Humpington Post. Okay. Truthfeed.com reported each Trump accuser gets more and more ridiculous. This one turns out to be writer for the viciously ultra left-wing anti-Trump Huffington Post that has been acting in the role of Hillary super PAC from day one. Latest Trump fake rape accuser, Karina Virginia, is a Huffington Post writer, weird yoga healer, and obviously pawn of left-wing media hack Gloria Allred. Karina Virginia writes for the left-wing, viciously anti-Trump Huffington Post. Could she maybe be anti-Trump too? Perhaps the famous photo of the Huffington Post editors meeting will give you a clue, otherwise known as Banned Men from Earth Club. And there's a picture in this if you want to take a look at this, couple of them. Holy smoke. The next article that I have for you is off of foxnews.com. For the hamster to catch up. Run, little fella, run. Okay. Expert confirms voting machines in Illinois and Maryland rigged for Democrats. Just last week, TPNN reported that voting machines in historically politically corrupt Cook County, Illinois, were automatically switching votes cast for Republicans into votes for Democratic candidates. Cook County Board of Elections Deputy Communications Director Jim Scalzetti told the Illinois Watchdog that it was a calibration error of the touchscreen on the machines. Now, watchdog.org is reporting similar evidence of electronic voter fraud in the state of Maryland, where Diebold voting machines are switching Republican votes to Democratic votes. So there you have that information. And the next one that we have here is off of westernjournalism.com. It says WikiLeaks tweets back Trump's suggestion that election is rigged. Even as Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump is criticized for a suggestion that the results of this year's election may be rigged, recent tweets from WikiLeaks suggest he may be correct. The group that has leaked tens of thousands of emails, computers of top-level members of the Democratic Party and Clinton campaign suggest the winner in the 2016 presidential election has been a foregone conclusion because political elites united behind Clinton want nothing more than a candidate set up by the media in so that Clinton can win. And there's a tweet from WikiLeaks that says there is no U.S. election. There is power consolidation. Rigged primary, rigged media, rigged Pied Piper candidate drive consolidation. And the article goes on and says, according to one email leaked by WikiLeaks, Trump was referred to by the Clinton campaign as Pied Piper candidate, who the campaign wanted status because he would lead the GOP in a direction where it could not win. The other WikiLeaks tweets made it clear that it believes that the election has been an exercise in conspiracies. It has been clear from the beginning who's going to win. This is, in effect, power of consolidation exercise, WikiLeaks tweeted on Thursday. And then there's another tweet it shows here, says, what election? It has been clear from the beginning who's going to win. This, in effect, is power consolidation exercise. And the article says, we've always stated that A, the FBI would not indict Clinton, and that B, Clinton would almost certainly win, it later tweeted. It says on Friday, WikiLeaks noted that it was not supporting Trump against Clinton. Exposing the U.S. establishment's presumptive president does not mean supporting the right-wing populist it boosted to create fear, it tweeted. Trump, however, is taking the most recent revelations from WikiLeaks and refusing to act as though he has a part in the political script obtained from on high. Boy, we love WikiLeaks, Trump said Friday during a North Carolina rally. Now, from WikiLeaks, we just learned she tried to get $12 million from Kingdom of Morocco for an appearance, Trump said. Pay or more pay for play. That's why I'm proposing a path of ethics reforms to make government honest again. It's time to drain the swamp in Washington, D.C., Trump said in reference to his proposal of term limits for Congress. And so that is that article. And the next one we have is off of DennisMichaelLynch.com. And it says, Soros Group in hot water for Arizona election law violations. Liberal open borders billionaire George Soros, millions of dollars into local elections all across the nation, is now in trouble for violating election laws in Arizona. Arizona Family reports that an attorney for Republican incumbent Bill Montgomery's re-election campaign for County, or Maricopa County, I guess it is, attorney filed a complaint Friday against newly formed Soros PAC, Arizona Safety and Justice. According to Phoenix lawyer Brett Johnson, that political committees give money to a candidate within 60 days of an election must provide 24 hours notice to opponents about television ads submitted. Montgomery's campaign said Soros Group did not notify them. The Arizona Family notes that prosecutor races Soros is supporting around the country of his funded candidates have won. In August, we reported that by using his money to find, train, and plant his own candidates into local district attorney campaigns, he's building a pipeline into the federal courts. Next article that I have for you here. Computer to cooperate. There we go. BizPac review. Hilarious. Democrat Sheila Jackson Lee gives Wikipedia leaking emails on MSNBC. Oh, I can't make this up. All right. Representative Sheila Jackson Lee has had it with the leaks of Clinton campaign emails, and she lashed out in an online encyclopedia for it. You know what I'm doing? Let's try this again. You know that I'm going to first of all denounce the utilization of this intrusion by Wikipedia through the Russian intrusion. We see on Friday. This is what it's about. Espionage, just like what was said over these last couple of days. We need to be concerned about the intrusion of Russia and Putin in the elections. The free online encyclopedia, not WikiLeaks, the organization led by Julian Assange, that has actually been leaking the emails. It ought to come as no surprise to anyone who has followed the career of the brilliant from Texas, but for those that haven't, these are some gems through the years. Here's one that says, today we have two Vietnams side by side, north and south, exchanging and working. She said on the floor of the House in 2010, we may not agree with all that North Vietnam is doing, but they are living in peace. I would look for a better human rights record for North Vietnam, but they are living side by side. In 1997, she confused the moon and Mars while visiting the Mars Pathfinder Operations Center. Lee asked one of the scientists if they had been successful in photographing the flag planted on the red planet by Neil Armstrong. I stand here as a freed slave because Congress came together. We are going to be able to do it today, or try it again. Are we going to be able to do it today to free America? She said in 2013, though her former slave masters were not available for comment. And in a gem from 2014, she claimed the Constitution was 400 years old, which would mean it was written in 1614 before the Pilgrims arrived at Plymouth Rock. Maybe I should offer a good thanks to the distinguished members of the majority, the Republicans, my chairman and others, for giving us an opportunity to have a deliberative constitutional discussion that reinforces the sanctity of this nation and how well it is that we have lasted some 400 years operating under a constitution that clearly defines what is constitutional and what is not. Perhaps that's why social media was less than surprised at her newest gaffe. And there's some tweets if you want to read those for more giggles. The next one we have here is off dailysheeple.com. Says shit just got real. Sources leak surprise election military drill. DHS prepping for no rule of law after election day. SHTFplan.com is exclusively reporting that U.S. military, DHS, and FEMA are gearing up for a huge official unannounced martial law drill set to start October 30th and running through to 30 days after the election. By the sound of it, this has nothing to do with foreign invaders, but with quelling potential mass civil unrest in American streets. Through back channels, its implications are astounding. If there's any truth to it, the 2016 election could be a kickoff for total tyranny, according to an unnamed source who has provided accurate intel in the past. An unannounced military drill is scheduled to take place during the period leading up to the election and throughout the month after. It appears that The system is gearing up to handle outbreaks of violence, chaotic rallies, and poll stations, and the possibility that people of the United States may become very dissatisfied with the outcome by using military force and martial law. The drill could, of course, go live at any time. Homeland Security and the military are prepared to contend with a period of unrest and restore order to a divided and broken country, regardless of whether people like the new leader or not. As you know, DHS is already monitoring this election and prepared to take over its critical infrastructure. The scope of this drill would, of course, take things much further. And little letter says, "Hi guys, I got some gouge from former military colleague who is in contact with active duty personnel, and he received an email about an upcoming drill. We need confirmation on this, but if we put it out there, we might get a leaker to come forward and confirm." It says date October 30th, 30 days after the election, suspected region Northeast, specifically New York. First phase, NROL, no rule of law, drill involving combat arms in metro areas, active and reserve. Source says active duty and reserve service members are being vaccinated as if they're being deployed in theater. Second phase is LROL, limited rule of law, military, FEMA, consolidating resources, controlling water supply, handing out to public as needed. Third phase, AROL, authoritarian rule of law, possible new acronym for term for martial law, curfew, restricted movements, basic martial law scenario. Source said exercise involves FEMA, DHS, and military. So far, this drill has not been confirmed outside the single source, but maybe now that it's all in the alternate media, others will come forward to verify it. However, with everything else going on right now, geographically, this makes sense. Obviously, with this election between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, large masses of people are going to be pissed off either way, no matter who wins. The government must recognize that fact. The first phase of the drill refers to combat arms in metro areas. The second phase is about controlling the water supply. The third is martial law without saying it. By the looks of this, the system is gearing up for a fight with the people on election day. Could the system's consolidation of power behind Hillary Clinton and her ascension to the U.S. throne have something to do with it? No matter what, it's never too late to be prepared until it's too late. The next article I have for you is off of lifenews.com. Donald Trump was right. There are 5 places people can get a 9-month abortion now. This week's presidential debate, which was last week, which sparked national conversation on the matter of late-term abortions, we have been inundated with requests for information about late-term abortion facilities and practices. Below are 5 places where women can get abortions through the 9th month of pregnancy right now. Number 1, Southwestern Women's Options in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Abortionists Shelley Sella, Susan Robertson, Carmen Landau, Curtis Boyd, Emily Rothman. New Mexico is Wild West for late-term abortionists because there are essentially no laws restricting the practice or regulating it. This facility is the largest late-term abortion facility in the U.S. It uses the induction abortion technique for most late-term abortions, which is a modified partial birth abortion procedure. Documentation exists that provide details of severely botched 35-week abortions there in 2011, which ruptured the uterus of the patient. Number 2, Boulder Abortion Clinic, Boulder, Colorado, owned and operated by Warren Hern. Like New Mexico, Colorado law allows for abortions through all 9 months of pregnancy. Hern has written textbooks on abortion and even invented new abortion instruments over his long career. According to a federal court lawsuit filed in Colorado, one patient suffered a horrific 3rd trimester dismemberment abortion complication in 2013, wherein a 4-centimeter slightly curved section of bone from her aborted baby's skull was left inside her and became embedded in her uterus. She may never bear another child. Number 3, Women's Medical Center in Dayton, Ohio, owned and operated by Martin Haskell. Haskell has been credited with inventing partial birth abortion procedure, although that claim is in dispute. Haskell's abortion facility has had a number of documented botched abortions, most recently. Information surfaced that his facility conducted a forced late-term abortion on a woman who was incapable of consenting. He has issues maintaining his abortion facility license since he cannot qualify for a hospital transfer agreement as required by law. He currently operates under variance that allows him an exemption from the transfer agreement requirement. Number 4, Pro-Choice Medical Center, Beverly Hills, California, owned and operated by Josephia Selitz. Selitz uses the induction abortion method for very late-term abortions, which she will gladly do in the event of a fetal abnormality. She boasts of being the most experienced abortion provider in the Western United States. Number 5, Germantown Reproductive Health Services in Germantown, Maryland. Abortionist is Leroy Carhart. While late-term abortions are inherently more risky than the first trimester variety, Leroy Carhart is among the worst late-term abortionists in the nation. He is responsible for the deaths of 2 late-term abortion patients, Jennifer Morbelli, age 29, who died of complications to a 33-week abortion on February the 7th of 2013, and Kristen Gilbert, age 19, who died from a 3rd trimester Carhart abortion in Kansas in 2005. Numerous life-threatening botched abortions have characterized the past few years of his career. Carhart has been subpoenaed by the House Select Panel on Infant Lives, which suspects Carhart has illegally trafficked in aborted baby parts and had babies born alive at his abortion facility. More information, Operation Rescue, about late-term abortion facilities and abortion practices are at the following links. First one is number of late-term abortion facilities in the USA may surprise you. And the second link says induction abortion method, how it's done. If you want to read up on that or do any research on it, there you go. The next one that I have for you is off of thegatewaypundit.com. It says vandals hurl bricks through windows at Indiana GOP office. And there is a video in this if you'd like to take a look at it. This, just in case anybody's interested, is only about 30 minutes from my house. And it says vandals hurled bricks through the windows of Delaware County GOP offices. The criminals caused $1,200 in damages. Delaware County Republican Party said vandals attacked their office, throwing bricks through the windows. And there is a link you can click on there to Twitter about it. And it says Fox 59 News at Fox 59, October 18th of 2016. And there's the video that you can take a look at. It says the Delaware County Republican Party said vandals struck at their office last week. Someone threw 2 landscaping bricks through a window on October the 8th. Signs for Donald Trump and Todd Young were hanging on the window at the time, according to the group's Facebook page. Officials said it would cost about $1,200 to replace the broken window, and said anyone interested in helping cover the cost could donate online. This week, Delaware County Sheriff Ray Dudley said his office has received reports of campaign signs being taken from yards in Mount Pleasant Township area. Dudley said the reports were being taken seriously, and the removing signs without authority to do so may be a criminal conversion under Indiana's criminal code. So there's that article. The next one I have here is off of LibertyWriterNews.com. It says, Facebook just betrayed Hillary. Look what Mark Zuckerberg just said about the Trump train. It says Facebook has done some pretty bad stuff last year. They spent a lot of money and personal resources to help Hillary Clinton out during the election. Not anymore, says CEO and founder Mark Zuckerberg. After the liberal media tried to make him turn on one of his oldest friends, Peter Thiel, for donating to Donald Trump, Zuckerberg finally decided to fight back. He wrote a scathing post telling people that Facebook will stand for more than just the ideas of a few elite, but instead for the ideas of the people. Zuckerberg even acknowledged there are good reasons that people support Trump. Number one, they believe strongly in smaller government. Number two, they want a different tax policy. Number three, they want better healthcare system. Number four, they want to maintain religious freedom. Number five, they worry about American gun rights. Number six, or any other issue where he disagrees with Hillary. He ended by saying that's ultimately what Facebook is about, giving everyone the power to share our experiences so we can understand each other a bit better and connect us a little closer together. So despite the fact that he still supports Hillary Clinton, I want to thank Mark Zuckerberg for having the common decency to acknowledge the Trump train, even though all his tech billionaire friends will attack him for it. Now, let's get this shared so everyone, so everywhere we can show the world that Hillary's network is finally turning its back on her. And there's more to this if you want to go to it and click on and read more. The last one I have for you is off of IntelliHub.com, and it says establishment now blaming Russians for nearly everything under the sun. Plans to illegally insert Hillary Clinton into the presidency. If you are going by real numbers and not corporate media propaganda that's spewed forth to us by the TV, Donald Trump will win the general election by a landslide. And when I say real numbers, I mean real numbers. It's that simple. Let me take a moment to explain. You see, we can simplify everything just by casting away faked poll numbers, media lies, and propaganda. It's really that simple. Let's do this. Let's judge the potential outcome of the election another way, in a simplified manner. Let's go by rally attendance. First off, we have to consider that physical participation at rallies will in fact reflect voters' eagerness to make it to the polls on election day and should somewhat reflect on a per capita basis which candidate is actually more popular in the real world. For example, if only 200 people attend an average Hillary Clinton rally versus 3,000 to 20,000 people physically attending Donald Trump's rallies, then in my opinion, the verdict is in, as these numbers should reflect participation of real people in a salable manner. You can see quite the contrast here. Now let's run the math. And hey, what the hell? Let's even give Hillary the benefit of the doubt and average Trump rally attendees that at an extremely low number by only 1,000 on average to Hillary's 200, just to demonstrate simple point. Example, 1,000 attendees versus Hillary 200 attendees. Trump 80%, Hillary 20%. So you see, now imagine what the ratio would be if we factored in more accurate numbers into the equation, which would be more like an average of 4,000 Trump attendees per rally versus Hillary's 200 or so. By using this logic, we can apply it on a larger scale to demonstrate who will likely turn out at the polls and vote on election day. And by doing this, the numbers to show Donald J. Trump winning by a landslide. However, we all know that the establishment will not go down without a fight and plans to do everything in their power to insert Hillary as the POTUS. So, because after all, she's clearly the establishment's pick. Media lies and trickery. Do we live in fixed virtual reality? Hillary supporter and media shill Abby D. Phillip of the Washington Post tweeted during a Hillary rally back in August that there was a boisterous crowd in attendance, and even tweeted a picture which made the crowd look big. But come to find out, not that many people actually attended the rally that day, which seems to be a norm for nearly all Clinton rallies. And then they have a picture of what a Trump rally looks like. And I mean, you know, there's thousands of people there. And there's more tweets and pictures and tweets and pictures of the rallies. It says, any questions? Now, according to Rutgers, U.S. intelligence and law enforcement officials are warning that hackers with ties to Russia's intelligence service could try to undermine the credibility of the presidential election by posting documents online purporting to a voter fraud. But you see, this is just a psyop, another media trick to fool the populace into believing that any voter fraud pertaining to the election will be perpetuated by Russian hackers and not the establishment. They want you to believe that Hillary actually won the election when they tell us she won, despite the fact that the system's rigged. And here's a video here of a voting machine that gets hacked in 60 seconds. It says, watch as the ROM is swapped out in the electronic voting machine in about a minute. So you can watch that at your leisure if you want to see that. It says, makes you have so much faith in our system, don't it? Back in May of 2016, I wrote, there is only a few logical things that may happen now leading up to the general election. So what we have to take a close look at is how the establishment will try and remain in power at all costs. I mean, you didn't think they'd give up without a fight, did you? And there's only so many options for them on the table right now after being trumped, pardon the pun, which I will cover herein. If you think the United States as a board game and all of our politicians as game pieces, then you'll likely have a better understanding of how the establishment works. In fact, powers that be, the puppet masters that run the establishment, actually think of politicians as their game pieces, and they relate the board to America. In fact, this would make the citizenry the players in a sense, especially if them the citizenry chose to play the game by acknowledging the establishment fallacious power. At any given time, the establishment can choose to play any one of several hands that are often always on the table. It's also safe to say the establishment controls both sides, both Democratic and Republican parties. They have already assaulted the U.S. government and are now using a union mafia template, the media and deep state, as an apparatus of control. At any given time, a high number of top-level officials are always compromised, and this is what makes the establishment so afraid of Donald Trump, because Trump is his own man and in no way connected to the apparatus. In fact, the establishment is so scared of Trump that they may go all the way and pull JFK on him if they get the opportunity, as speculated by others. If you rationally think about it, the powers that be would love nothing more than to crown Hillary the next POTUS with little to no effort. But keep in mind, such an event could also trigger anarchy in the U.S., allowing for Obama administration to possibly remain in office for an additional duration under the executive powers that were already put into place. The same goes if Hillary were to be indicted by the FBI over her Servergate scandal, as mentioned to me by one of my contacts. If Hillary was indicted by the FBI, this may trigger a wave of prosecutors who would then claim that the elections are a sham, as the self-proclaimed Democratic Socialist Sanders would be the only one left to run against Trump. Then we also have to watch for the scenario that if either Trump or Hillary were to disappear for whatever reason, some other shiny white knight would then ride in on his or her big horse and pose as the ultimate savior for the nation, which in turn would likely be an orchestrated trick. Additionally, there is also the chance that Trump will end up facing off with Hillary in the general election straight up, and the establishment will then have to do everything in their power to rig the electronic voting machines, which has been proven to be possible to assure the Madam Secretary's victory. The bottom line is the establishment slave lords are going to get down and dirty with Trump. Believe that. So there's that article. And that concludes this, well, I don't know, this entertaining this entertaining issue of the Level-Headed News. So I hope you enjoyed that. Bye.